Hello everyone, Alaska Prepper here. Just filled up the tank of gas and I'm headed home. This is actually my favorite gas station. You know, everywhere that I've been throughout my life, I've always, looked around, as soon as I got there, and I always try to find a gas station that I really like. One where I can go in and the people know me and I know them. It's pretty nice to have that, I think. And this one here is the one that I go to 99% of the time. It's called the Holiday gas station. So I thought I'd give you guys a little tour of what it looks like around here. If you haven't guessed by now, I live in Fairbanks, Alaska. So I live in the northern part of Alaska. Most people, when they think of Alaska, they think of Anchorage. And this is Fairbanks. So we get a bit more cold weather up here. As far as snow, it's pretty even. But up here, the weather's a little colder than it is down in the Anchorage area. The coldest it's been since I've been here was, I think it hit like -50 for a couple of days. I think 2 or 3 years ago, 2 years ago maybe. Last year, the coldest it got was about -45 where I live. And I'm pretty lucky because where I live is up on a hill. So the weather up there is about 5 to 10 degrees warmer than it is down here in town. So whenever it's around 50 below zero down here, it'll be about 40 below zero where I live, which that makes a pretty big difference, believe it or not. So I'm pretty lucky that, where I live, it's a little bit warmer. And a big reason why is that I'm lucky is because, remember, I'm not hooked up to any utilities except for electric. So I have a septic system that takes care of my wastewater. So my septic system, when I installed it, I insulated it really, really well. But even with all that insulation, it still scares me that it might get frozen in a really bad winter. But like I said, since I've been here, or since we've been living in that house, the coldest it's gotten up there was -42. And it's been pretty good. No, we didn't have any problems with it. Everything was great, and cross my fingers, and Lord willing, it'll be okay this year as well. When I installed it underneath the earth, I have about 20 inches of insulation, of foam insulation on top of my system, which is includes on top of my tank and on top of my leach field. I have about 20 inches of foam insulation. And then on top of that, I've got about 2.5 feet of dirt. And then on top of that, I got another layer of not foam insulation, but fiberglass insulation that I put in plastic bags, and then I threw over the field. That way, when it snows, the snow will cover that, and that gives it even more insulation. So when you think of it, I got about R100 insulation on top of that septic field. So I'm hoping that that will be good enough to keep it, from freezing. So far, so good. So let's keep our fingers crossed. But as you can see, this is what our roads look like here in the winter. I mean, it's just like any other place, except when it's really snowing a lot, you can't even differentiate from any other lanes. And it's pretty dangerous. I remember last year it snowed about 3 feet overnight, and it was extremely dangerous. I still had to go to work that day, and I should have probably just called in and said that I wasn't going in. But I still went to work, and it was extremely dangerous getting to work that day. But yeah, it gets pretty bad, the roads here, especially the back roads, like around where I live, because the state or the county doesn't get to plowing the back roads very quickly after it snows. They concentrate on the main highways and the main roads in town. So right now I'm hauling my water that I pumped a few minutes ago, that you'll probably see in the video before this one. And whenever I'm hauling a lot of water like that, even though this truck is very capable, I still drive extremely careful. I drive pretty careful all of the time, But when I'm hauling that much weight in the back, I drive extremely careful, because it's very dangerous if I were to get in an accident with, 1,500 to 2,000 pounds worth of water inside of a tank right behind me. Imagine what would happen if that tank got loose if I got in an accident. So yeah, I'm extremely careful when I'm driving. So yeah, but like I said, it's a gloomy day today, so there's not too much to see. But I like doing these little shores, because when I do them pretty much almost all the time by myself. Sometimes my daughter comes with me, and my wife doesn't do much of the outside stuff. I pretty much insist on handling all the kind of things that that are done outside, because I don't want my wife to have to do that kind of stuff. She does enough with raising my kids and with taking care of the home. So I like to do these kind of things. And when I do these things, I'm by myself. I kind of like spending time by myself. I've been married for almost 26 years. I've got 2 kids. I've got a 23-year-old, and he doesn't live at home anymore, but he still lives near us, thank God. I'm so very glad that he lives near us. And I have a 10-year-old who's going on 20, not by age, but by attitude, really. But yeah, and I'm pretty happy, pretty lucky to have the things I have. Sometimes I think of how lucky I am. There's so many people in this world that have so little, but I look at my life and where I'm at, and I'm so happy to have the things that I have, and I'm so lucky to have the things that I have. I've worked for everything I've got. Nothing's ever been given to me, never. I've never taken from anyone. I don't believe in getting stuff for free. I like to work for what I have. But I'm really happy and lucky to have the things that I have. My family is my biggest achievement in life. Without my family, I'd be nothing. I'd be a hermit. I always told my wife that if I never married, I'd probably be living 100 miles north of here, in the middle of nowhere, in a little cabin, just living the life of a hermit. Maybe coming into town once or twice a year to get a few supplies, and then just going back out. But my family really makes me who I am, because without them, I'd really be nothing. So I'm really happy. I hope that a lot of people, I hope that most people out there, if not all people out there, can find happiness. It's so important. For this little speck in time, this is just a little a little grain of sand in a beach. That's what our lives are, compared to the universe or to time or whatever you want to call it. We live such a small period of time on this earth compared to, how old the earth is, if you believe in all that kind of stuff. That I'm pretty lucky that that I'm happy. Some people aren't happy. But yeah, this is our ride home. Pretty soon here, I'll be turning off on this road. Hopefully this won't be too long of a video for you guys to endure. Yeah, it's pretty. The roads are pretty shaky. If you can hear the wheels bouncing on the ground. But those shots I told you about, they're holding up pretty good, because with all this bouncing around, the water is not sloshing that much in that tank, which is a good thing. And I make sure every year that I put really good winter tires on the vehicles. Even though this Suburban is a 4x4, I put winter tires on it that are studded. And I love studded tires. They work great. I mean, I try not to trust them too much. I don't think you ought to trust your tires or your brakes. Yeah, your brakes should work, but you should always be thinking of what will I do if down the road here my brakes give out? What would I do? You always have to have a backup plan if something goes wrong. So having good tires, having good brakes is very important anywhere you are. But what if one of those things fails? You should drive like if something might fail, because if it does, you'll be prepared for it. But look at this road. Isn't this pretty? I mean, these trees look so nice in the wintertime. And the reason they're white like that is not because of snow. I mean, partially it is because of snow, but mainly it's because of freezing fog. They call it freezing fog. So it gets really foggy in the morning, and the fog is so dense that the cold freezes it and it sticks to the trees, and that's what makes the trees look like that. It's not really the snow. The snow kind of falls off of them and makes them loop really bad, but the freezing fog sticks to them like that. And I think that they look really, really nice like that. So hey, I'm gonna end this video. I'll probably start it back up here in a few, so that you guys can see how I hook up to my house water supply, and then you guys can see how I pump my water in, and I'll show you my system that I have under my house. That's if there's enough light down there. I'm not sure how much light this camera needs in order for it to work. I'm just using a cheapo little camera off my phone, so hopefully it works well. If it doesn't, you guys let me know. I might invest on something a little bit better, but for an amateur like me, can't really complain. All right, this is the last prepper. I will see you guys later.